All right, our buddy Jonders, we haven't heard from him in a while. What's up, Jonders? What's on your mind, sir?
I'm really worked up, okay? I'm worked
brother.
up, Rich.
Right.
Yesterday, we saw Dak Prescott come out about his mental health struggles and how he is going through that. I thought, great. He's a hero. I am so proud of him that he's doing this. To talk a little bit about myself, I'm a suicide attempt survivor. Brandon Marshall coming out and talking about his experience with. I can't hear you.
We're hearing every word you're saying. We got you.
What's that?
We got you. Keep going.
Okay. So Brandon Marshall coming out with his mental health issues just flat out saved my life. And when you're clinically depressed, you have a monster in your head telling you that you're not good enough to seek help and you're not worthy of it. And it didn't just take once for Brandon Marshall to say this. I had to hear him say it dozens and dozens of times. So when I saw Dak do that yesterday, I'm like, cool, he's saving lives. And then today on Twitter, I see 4 clicks. Skip Bayless is talking about how weak Dak is, and he is literally risking people's lives. And it's not funny anymore. When he does this about sports takes or whatever, fine, I don't care what he does. But now he is messing with people's lives. He's making people not make it to adulthood, and it is a bridge too far. This is not a joke, and I'm worked up, Rich.
Well, Jonders, let me help you here if I can, because I don't know. That's my default. I don't think there's anybody out there who's going to be hearing, who you're saying is talking about it and maybe putting it into practice in a way that could kill somebody. But
Rich,
hold on a second.
But you're looking for any
you never know. You're right.
To believe that belief.
You never know. I even broke my own rule about tweeting about what he says because, again, there are people in my business and in also the news business who say things that they don't believe and who say things that maybe they do believe and say it without any concern of being accurate or responsible because they'd rather be heard and talked about rather than be accurate and responsible. And what he said was reckless, and you are giving voice to why it is so reckless. And so I go back and forth because deep down, he wants to be talked about. Does he like being talked about, being universally slagged on for such a garbage take? Maybe deep down he prefers to be liked. I don't know if he cares or not. But his bosses have made a decision about what his style is and how it works for them. I do something differently. I just wanted to say and broke a rule by going out on Twitter and yesterday and saying that. So I just want to say your life is important. I'm glad that you have survived because you now have your own podcast and you have your own say, Jonders. And I just want to say, I'm hoping that nobody heard what he really had to say. And again, I appreciate the call. I just want to say this on the subject, just to reiterate. The concept of somebody saying that they are depressed or feeling down and are doubting their reason for being. Somebody saying that and sharing it is not a sign of weakness at all. And to view it as a sign of weakness is such an antiquated, passé view of what's supposedly strong and what's supposedly weak. It's so antiquated that you're soft because, and whatever the reason is, apparently today's response was parsing out the different types of depression, whether it's clinical or based on coronavirus. A lot of people are just being alone. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult. And the fact that you can't handle anything like that mentally gives you less ability to be heard in a locker room and be a leader of men. What a bunch of crap. And it's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous to sit there and say you should not share what you're saying and how you're feeling because you could be viewed as weak and you can't lead a group of people. And it's very dangerous to say what you're saying or feeling is because you are soft regardless of its clinical or something that you're perceived. I cannot imagine how many families out there are dealing with somebody who is depressed for whatever reason, and they can't shake that feeling, and the family just gets ripped apart. And Dak, his brother committed suicide. He's in quarantine, and he shared that he had feelings of depression, and he didn't know what to make of it, and he didn't know how to particularly handle it. Doesn't mean that he can't win the MVP this year. That's absurd. I don't really want to talk about it that much anymore, but because, again, the person who said it wants to be heard, wants to be discussed, wants to see a trend, because it's something he said, and then tune in tomorrow, and then tune in tomorrow, and then tune in tomorrow until you forget about it, and then he says something again, and then you're arguing about that, and it's just nonstop. We see it too much in politics. I know that. But this is too important a subject to just slough off, as you heard from Johnders.